What's up, mod squad? Welcome to another Division 2 build breakdown video. If you already subscribed to me, then don't forget to smash that like button, as it really does help push our videos into the recommended section, which in turn helps the channel grow. Interaction is a big part of what helps us in the YouTube algorithm, and the extra support is very much appreciated. With that said, let's get into the video, and in today's video we are going to go over 3 builds that will help new and veteran players solo legendary missions and the summit, as well as blitz through heroic content. What makes these 3 builds so great is they are stupidly overpowered and they are super easy to farm for. Pretty much anyone could put these 3 builds together and dominate the game. 2 of these builds aren't for speedrunning, but will give you an extremely high chance of completing legendary content solo, and one of them is for speedrunning heroic content. If you guys want full breakdowns and gameplay of each build, I will tag the original build above at the top right, and I will also timestamp and link the original builds in the description below. And with that said, let's get started. If you guys are interested in being a member, then click the join button down below to check out the available perks. The first tier is only $1. Thank you to those of you who choose to join. What's up, mod squad? MOB back with another Division 2 build breakdown video. Not long after my last legendary build video, I put out a poll on my community tab asking you guys where you wanted to see me showcase my legendary builds, summit or in missions. As you guys can see, the majority of you voted for missions, so missions you'll see as well. After my last solo legendary build, which you guys loved, I decided to go through the comments to check out the feedback. What I found was it held the majority of you, but there were still some of you who needed more from the build, mainly in the form of survivability. I know this type of build isn't for everybody, but these builds are made to help those who get easily discouraged and struggle with the higher difficulties, whether that be heroic strongholds, legendary missions or the summit. Using this kind of build makes it extremely hard for you to die, and at the same time allows you to put out high amounts of damage which wrecks all types of legendary NPCs. The only thing you have to worry about when using this build is your positioning. Other than that, this build makes the legendary missions doable, legendary floors 1 to 100 easy, and heroic content feel casual. The previous build I made gave us armor regen and bonus armor on kill, which for some of you wasn't enough. So with this build you'll also have armor on kill, health on kill and status effect on kill, which really comes in clutch. You'll also hit harder with both base damage and crit damage. This is a over the top immortal tank DPS build for those who want to do legendary missions, legendary summit or even farm heroic content solo and never have to struggle. We're talking about 1.5 to 1.7 million base armor, depending on if you want to go for the full tank version or the higher damage version, 3% armor regen, 20% armor on kill, 100% health on kill, 40 to 50% bonus armor on kill, disorient on kill, and finally a self-regenerating bulwark shield with 15 million health that only hunters can take down. Paired with this build's over the top survivability, we also hit very hard. With all buffs active, we're looking at 268% weapon damage, 51% crit chance and 95% critical hit damage, and 10% damage to targets out cover. All this allows us to hit for 1.5 million base damage and 2.9 million crits to the body. This build isn't the build to use to help you speedrun through legendary content, but is a build that will majorly help those who play solo get through legendary content a lot easier. You can also use this build in a squad and it will perform the same. I'm sure the majority of you guys by now would have noticed what I am using, and you're probably scratching your heads. This is a set designed for SMGs and shotguns, yet it's being used in a pistol build. All I'm going to say is I think outside the box, and just because it has SMG and shotgun damage on it, it doesn't mean it can't be used with any other weapons. Those of you who love my chameleon run and gun build with this set will know exactly what I'm talking about. This build could also be used to run and gun with an SMG for those of you who don't want to use the pistol all the time. You have another option. So with that said, don't forget to hit that like button if you've enjoyed this video, as it helps push our videos into the recommended section. If you're new, make sure you subscribe for lots more Division 2 content, and with that said, let's get into the build breakdown. Right guys, getting into the build breakdown, start off with the specialization. We are using the technician. We get the 1-3 skill tier, which goes towards our shield. That means I can spec into either another red or a blue. We also get extra damage to drones, skill proxies, so it's great for summit because we're going against the black tusk, so there's a lot of robo dogs, drones and all that good stuff. And that's pretty much why we're using this specialization. It's my favorite to use when it comes to the summit. We have the Liberty pistol as our main weapon. We have 431.6k base damage, goes up to around 500 when we have the memento buff and everything active. We have 173 RPM with 8 in a magazine. So on the talent, we have Liberty or Death, hits grant plus 2% weapon damage, stacks up to 30 times, so that's 60% weapon damage. That's insane, and that's just hitting body shots. Headshots consume all stacks, repairing your shield for 3%. Now you only want to go for a headshot if you really need your shield health back. Like if you're in a dire situation. Other than that, always go for the body shots so you stack up that weapon damage. Looking at the attachments on this, we have 5% headshot damage on the scope, 5% crit chance on the muzzle, 15% rate of fire on the grip, which you can't see. And then we had the magazine giving us 15% weapon handling, which you don't even feel because this thing kicks like a mule. Now moving on to the gear pieces, starting off with the Hunter's Fury Mask. We have 170k armor, we have 3.5% crit chance, and then crit chance as a mod at 6%. Moving on to the chest piece, we have a Seska chest piece, 13.6% weapon damage. I'm still optimizing it, as you can see, 5.5% crit chance, 12% crit damage, and 5.8% crit chance via a mod. And we are using Intimidate. This is a shield build, a tank DPS shield build, so we're going to be right up in the face of everything and everyone. So we have Intimidate, while you have bonus armor, amplifies total weapon damage by 35% to enemies within 10 meters. Moving on to the holster, and as you can see, we have 15% weapon damage and 12% critical hit damage. Knee pads, max armor at 170k, then we have 10.2% critical hit damage. Not all my pieces are maxed out, sadly. I will get around to optimizing them. I just need to majorly farm some materials. The gloves, 170k armor and then 10.2% critical hit damage. And finally, of course, the Memento backpack, which is the bread and butter of this build. We have 15% weapon damage, 170k armor, 1 skill tier, and then 5.4% critical hit chance. Here is the Bulwark shield. As you can see, it's a tier 6. Made up of 4 blues and 1 yellow. You can see the mods there, 4.9% shield health, 4.6% shield health, and then the 5% damage bonus, which doesn't apply. As you can see, 13.5 million health, goes up to 15 million once the buffs come in from the Memento. Moving on to the Artificer, which also contributes to the buff of health on the Bulwark shield. As you see, mods down here, 8.6% stim efficiency, and be at 4 extra stim charges, and then we have 10% duration. And that is pretty much it for the build, guys.
Enemies flanking! Get back!
Suppress him! I'll go around!
Got you!
Target's hurt!
Heavily armored hostiles detected.
No way! That's a good spot for a turret.
What's up, Mod Squad? MOB back with another Division 2 build breakdown video. After seeing those intro clips, I bet you guys are pretty excited for this one. Today's build is all about efficiency, getting through activities as fast as possible with minimal effort. This build is great for all heroic content, but it's currently my favourite to use when leveling up my SHD watch. So if you're looking to gain shade levels super fast, then this is the build you're looking for. Before I go any further, I know a lot of the console players will be turned off by this build because it's a headshot build, but I main console and you can use aim assist to your advantage to gain easy headshots. It just takes a little bit of practice. Now there's a few ways you can run this build, but what's really important is the chest and bag talent, along with having over 150% headshot damage. Currently I'm using the Chain Killer chest piece, which has perfect headhunter on it. After killing an enemy with a headshot, your next weapon hit within 30 seconds deals an additional 150% of that killing blow's damage. Damage is capped at 800% of your weapon damage. This is raised to 1250% if your headshot damage is greater than 150%. Hence why I said having over 150% headshot damage is important. This talent is what allows us to one-shot reds, purples and elites. And as you can see, it's very consistent in doing so as long as you're chaining your headshots. Now when it comes to the backpack, I have two options you can use, one being a brand set of your choice with the talent Vigilance, which increases total weapon damage by 25%, taking damage disables the buff for 4 seconds. This talent's good because it gives you 25% damage off the bat, and you're already going to lose this buff while you're behind your shield. The second option I'm currently using, that being the exotic Memento backpack. The reason I favour the Memento is because it gives me 60% weapon damage thanks to its short and long term buff. I gain extra survivability in the form of 3% armor regen, and the skill efficiency buffs my Bulwark shield, making it even tankier. We're looking at around 10 million health. Now when it comes to what weapons to run with this build, I recommend the D50, Liberty or the Regulus pistol, as all of these have very high base damage and will allow you to one shot. This build is great for both new and veteran players, it's simple to make, very effective, and is by far my favourite to use when it comes to open world activities. So now I spoke a little bit about the build and showcased some of what it's capable of, let's get into the build breakdown. Right guys, getting into the build, starting off with the specialization, and we are using the technician. We are using this because we get the artificial hive, which buffs our shield, helps it self regenerate. It also gives us one skill tier that's going to make both the artificial hive and the shield even stronger. So in total we have 2 yellows and 1 blue, so that's going to take us to tier 3 when it comes to our shield. We're going to have around 10 million health on the shield. Now we spoke about the specialization, let's move on to the primary weapon. I'm using a Liberty pistol, like I recommended. You could use the D50 as well, also has very high base damage. You can run a talent on there as well, close and personal. Either one, very effective. They work exactly the same, they still one shot. You could also use a Regulus, which I don't have, but very effective in the gameplays that I've seen. So looking at my Liberty, we have 597.1k base damage. That goes even higher once we get the long-term buff of the memento. We have 173 RPM and 8 in the magazine. If you reload straight away, you'll get 9. 14% pistol damage, 10% damage to targets out of cover. Then you have Liberty of Death, which doesn't even matter because we're going for headshots. So it kind of cancels out this talent. Looking at the D50, like I said, close and personal. The only attachment I have on here is the extra 5% headshot. It takes away 20% optimal range, but it doesn't matter because we're going to be within 7 meters of most enemies. Moving on to the build now, guys. We're starting off with the punch drunk mask, giving us 20% pistol damage. We have 15% weapon damage, 20% headshot damage given to us because this is the punch drunk mask. We have 6% critical hit chance and 10% headshot damage. Moving on to the chest piece, and we have the chain killer chest piece, the Walker Harris chain killer chest piece, giving us 5% weapon damage. We got 15% weapon damage as a core attribute, 10% headshot damage, 6% crit chance, and 9% headshot damage via a mod. And then we have perfect headhunter, as you guys can see, and I went over earlier. If you want to check that out in greater detail, feel free to pause the video. Moving on to the holster, we have the Providence defense holster, giving us 15% headshot damage. We have 15% weapon damage, 5.7% crit chance, and 9.5% headshot damage. Moving on to the backpack, the memento, of course. You guys know all about the memento. If you don't, pause the video to look at the talent in greater detail. But we can get up to 60% weapon damage from this. We'll get 10% bonus armor, and we'll get 10% skill efficiency on top of the 30% that we also gain for the long-term buff, all helping to buff the shield. Moving on to our gloves, and these are optional. I am using the contractor's gloves, giving us 15% weapon damage, 8% damage to armor, and then 10% headshot damage. Like I said, these are optional, you can switch these out. And then finally, the Fox Prayer's knee pads, giving us 15% weapon damage, 8% damage to targets out of cover, and 10% headshot damage. We also have 10% damage to targets out of cover on our Liberty pistol, so we get 18% total. And that is pretty much it for the build. Looking over the shield real quick, as you can see, it's at 8.2 million health. That goes up to 10 million health when it gets all the buffs from the memento. We have 4.9% shield health on that mod, 5% damage bonus which doesn't apply, and we have 4.6% shield health on that mod. Looking at the artificial hive, this is what is going to buff our shield, and you don't have to place this down in order for it to work. You just have to wear it holstered and it will apply to your shield. That's pretty much it for the build, guys. We're going to look at the stats real quick. If you guys are interested in being a member, then click the join button down below to check out the available perks. The first tier is only $1. Thank you to those of you who choose to join. What's up, Mod Squad? Welcome to another Division 2 build breakdown video. Today I bring you a build that will help anybody get through Legendary Summit solo. This build is going to allow you to face tank elite heavies and bosses, as well as deal with rogue agents with ease. Today's build is based on a build that blew up on my channel and helped out thousands of agents when it came to the Legendary Summit. That build being the 80% protection from Elite's Bulwark Shield build, a build that near enough made you unkillable. Now since the time of that build's release, the Summits has some changes and the Elites don't dominate Legendary Summit like they once did. So the protection from Elite stat isn't needed, in fact with this build it's optional. Today's build is an assault rifle build, a SMG build, and a 1.7 to 1.8 base armor crit damage armor regen pistol build with a self regenerating unbreakable shield. Damn, that was a mouthful. I myself am not really a bulwark shield pistol guy, so I wanted to make a build that had options. It also allows you guys to switch it up if you get bored, or just adjust to the different situations within the summit. This is one of the strongest summit builds I've made for sure. When it comes to the build survivability, starting off with the base armor, we have 1.7 to 1.8 million if you choose to have all blue cores. This build can also reach well over 2 million armor thanks to the Memento backpack, a backpack which many of you guys recommended in the comment section that I incorporate into this type of build. For each trophy we pick up, we'll be gaining 50% bonus armor, or 60% if you have 1.8 million armor, so being tanky is not a problem. On top of that, we have 3% armor regen, so if we get into a bad situation, we can pull up the shield and let the regen do its work, helping us get back in the fight. On top of all of that, we also have a 13.5 million health bulwark shield that is unbreakable. The reason I say unbreakable is because if it's not regenning itself, thanks to the artificial hive, it's able to regain health thanks to our Liberty pistol, which can gain us 60% of its health back. Now, having all that survivability allows us to have a pretty aggressive playstyle. It's all good and well being able to push up on legendary NPCs, but we also need the damage to take them down. Now, my build's lacking a little bit when it comes to the perfect rolls, but if you had those perfect rolls, you'd be looking at base stats of 160% crit damage, 46% critical hit chance for the pistol, 60% crit chance for the SMG, and 50% crit chance for the assault rifle. With buffs active, you can have another 40% critical hit damage due to the hostile negotiator's talent from the negotiator's dilemma gear set, as well as gain 135% weapon damage thanks to the combination of the Memento's long and short term buff, 35% amplified damage from the intimidate chest piece talent, and finally the 60% weapon damage from the Liberty pistol's liberty or death talent. That's if you're using that as your primary, which if you are, you'll be hitting 2.6 million plus crits to the body of NPCs. Having all this damage is what allows this build to be an assault rifle build, a SMG build, or pistol build. And what makes this build even better is you can mark up to 3 enemies, shoot one, and the other 2 take 60% of the damage dealt, helping you get through waves of NPCs a lot faster. Now, before we get into the build breakdown, this is important guys, I want to remind you to hit that like button if you've enjoyed this video, if it's helped you out at all, as it helps push our videos into the recommended section, in turn helping the channel grow. If you're new, subscribe for lots more Division 2 content, and with that said, let's get into the build breakdown. Starting off with the specialization, we are using the Technician for 3 reasons. 1, we get plus 12% damage to drones, skilled proxies and robotics, great for fighting against the White Tusk. Next reason, 1 free skill tier, which is going to buff both our shield and artificial hive. The artificial hive you can only get when you use the Technician specialization, and it is the artificial hive which is going to help our shield self regen. And that is it for the specialization. With that said, let's get on with the build. Starting off with the Liberty pistol, 396.3k base damage, gets boosted well over 400 once the Memento is kicked in. That 30% weapon damage that passively sits there works wonders. We have 14% pistol damage, 10% damage to targets out of cover. We have the Liberty or Death talent, hits grant plus 2% weapon damage, stacks up to 30 times. That's 60% weapon damage right there. We have headshots, consume all stacks, repairing your shield for 3% per stack. Now, I see a lot of people running around with the Liberty just going for headshots, using it as a headshot build, which makes no sense. You're going to benefit from it most if you build up the 30 stacks. The only time you want to hit headshots is when you're trying to repair your shield. Moving on to the attachments of this weapon, we have 5% headshot damage on the scope, we have 5% crit chance on the muzzle, we have a grip that you cannot see but it's there, it gives us 15% fire rate, and then we have the magazine giving us 15% weapon handling, which you do not feel because this thing kicks like a mule. It takes a bit of practice to get used to it, but once you get it down, it's worth it. Definitely one of the strongest pistols, if not the strongest pistol in the game. Moving on to the actual gear pieces now guys, starting off with a mask. Whenever a marked enemy dies, gain plus 2% critical hit damage, stacking up to 20 times or until combat ends. That's an extra 40% critical hit damage that you can gain, taking this build up to 200% if you have max rolls across the board. Looking at the core attributes, we have 170k armor, minor attributes 10.5% critical hit damage and 12% critical hit damage via a mod. Moving on to the chest piece, we're using Seska to give us a 10% critical hit chance. We have 14.6% weapon damage, 11.8% critical hit damage. Sadly, we have skill haste. You'd want to have crit chance there. That would take the pistol to 46% critical hit chance. And every other weapon very close to the crit chance cap. I believe the SMG is already at 60%. We also have 11.9% critical hit damage via mod. And of course, this is a right up in your face build, so we have Intimidate, while you have bonus armor, amplifies total weapon damage by 35% to enemies within 10 meters. Moving on to our holster, we have Negotiator's Dilemma holster, giving us 170k armor with 9.6% critical hit damage. Sadly, I do not have perfect rolls, but like I said, you can reach 200% critical hit damage if you do. So you have 170k armor on here again and 10.5% critical hit damage. Basically, all negotiated dilemma pieces, you want to roll the core attribute to armor and you want the minor attribute to be critical hit damage. Moving on to the backpack, and of course to the memento, 15% weapon damage, 160k armor, 1 skill tier. That's going to help boost the hive and shield. And then we have a mod giving us 11.9% critical hit damage. Kill confirm talent, you guys know how that works already. It's in many of my builds. You guys suggested it for this build. Otherwise, I probably would have used Adrenaline Rush. And that is it for the build, guys. We're going to look at the skills real quick. We have the shield with 13.5 million health. That gets boosted again because of the memento and the skill efficiency we gain from that. And also gets boosted even further because of the artificer hive. When it comes to the mods on here, we have 4.9% shield health, 4.6% shield health, and then 5% damage bonus, which I don't think does anything for the shield. If it does, let me know in the comment section below. Our secondary skill, very important to have this as it helps our shield regen. We have the Artificer Hive. There's the stats for that, guys. You can see it's currently at a tier 2. And that is pretty much it. I'm going to leave you guys with the stat sheet. Not going to talk through it. I will say though, don't forget to smash that like button. It's very important. Leave a comment down below, as doing both of those things really help the channel grow, guys. They really help the channel. You don't understand how much. So again, hit that like button. Leave a comment down below. If you're new, subscribe for lots more Division 2 content. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, Mod Squad.
Gotta feed on that agent. Come on. Never snowbound.
System disrupted.
Tango found.
Vital signs critical. System reactivated.
Firing airburst. Found him. Hey. see anything from here.
SHG in my sight. We got one.